by the blood of the Lamb. Committed as his channel of beauty.
Welcome to Covenant Woman, a program designed with you in mind, reaching families and also all those who are in need of help. Covenant Woman seeks to bring to you people who are gifted, qualified in their areas of conversation. And so I thank God again that we are with you in your homes or wherever you are viewing this program. The scripture that I want to share with you today is taken from Proverbs 17 and verse 6. Children's children are a crown to the aged, and parents are the pride of their children. The children see the parents as their pride. I have with me today Dr. Joanne Spence. Welcome. Welcome, Joanne. Good. Dr. Joanne Spence, she is the founder director of the Mentoring Center of Trinidad and Tobago, motivational coach, lecturer in behavioral change therapy. She's a behavioral change therapist, counselor, mentoring young people in difficult situations. She holds a bachelor's degree in social work, master's degree in mediation with a concentration in youth development and conflict mediation. She also holds a Doctor of Philosophy in the areas of youth development from Oxford Graduate School, USA. She is the chief consultant at a consulting firm in Trinidad and an awardee in the end of 2013 from the Ministry of Labor. Dr. Spence received 2 awards, one from the Ministry of Labor and Cooperatives, and that was for the International Year of Cooperatives for her contribution to youth development, and also in 2014 for the International Year of Women and her contribution to women. She received an award from the Ministry of Works, the Women Affairs. Is the Women Affairs in the Ministry of Works? Well, Dr. Spence, after such a lengthy but wealthy, such wealth in qualifications, I say welcome to Covenant Woman.
Thank you very much.
All right. Today we are dealing with the topic physical abuse, children. We are dealing specifically in this mini-series with Dr. Spence on abuse to children, different forms of abuse. But today we are starting with physical abuse. Yeah? So if you could give us a definition and so on. And
so we're talking about child abuse, and we are zeroing specifically physical. But let me just say, because when we talk about child abuse, we need to define what is a child in terms of age. And according to the Act, Children's Act 4601, we talk about a child as anybody under the age of 18 years. So we understand that the child is under 18. So when we talk about child abuse, we're talking about abuse to persons under 18 years of age, whether male or female. Now we're looking at physical because we understand that there are many forms of abuse. So we're looking at physical today. And physical abuse talks about any sort of injury that would be done to the child's body, physically. The Act spoke on things like suffocation of infants. We understand that sometimes parents would leave a child to bathe in a pool of water, in a tub and so, and infants, and they would slip and fall into the water and drown. And the Act speaks about that as abuse. It also speaks about exposing children to risk of burning. And as we speak about burning, I want to talk about, when we talk physical abuse, I want to talk about parents when we looking at punishing our children, and we tend to feel that a child stole something, and the best way they feel is that you take that child's hand and put that child's hand in the fire. And we say that's a form of punishment so the child would not steal again. And when the child looks at the burn, they will say, okay, I got this from stealing, so I would not steal. But it doesn't work like that, and that is abuse, and that's physical abuse of children. So we want to understand, because sometimes we don't understand the difference between discipline and abuse, and we need to understand that. So we do a lot of things, and I don't know, and some of you may remember, at a very young age, your parents will tell you, okay, especially long time, that you kneel on a greeter because you did something wrong. So they give you time off, and they say, go on the greeter and kneel on the greeter for a period of time. Maybe with your hands up, sitting in the sun, or in the sun, kneeling on a greeter with something in your hand, like a stone and so on. Those are things that people used to do long time in terms of punishment. And that is abuse, it's physical abuse, because when the child gets up, the child probably dehydrated from outside in the sun all that time, hands paining because you have the stone in your hand, and you also have the grated knees because of that. So that injury, that is physical abuse. Nowadays, we hardly find parents doing that. So let's talk about modern times. What do we do? And many of us, as we sit home and we listen, we can think of things that we do to discipline our child, apart from beating. Other physical things that we do to the child. We ring ears, and we would ring the ears so hard, and I don't know, you would remember sometimes when parents discipline you and they will ring your ears I remember getting ring ears and might not have done anything to me. But there are times that we ring out of anger, we ring the child ears so bad that it damages the ear bell, and you have to understand that we can do damage to the child when we try to discipline. So we have to understand the difference between abuse and discipline. So we need to really look back, and I tell parents, one of the things that we need to do is to take some time, rationalize, think about what should I do to discipline this child. Because when we move out of anger, we tend to do things that we may regret. Parents, in terms of discipline and beating and so on, end up killing children because they hit a child and lash on the head, and they sorry, they regret after. Let us take some time, think about what is the best discipline, what should we do before we just move out of anger and decide to discipline our child. So we are saying today that any physical harm, anything that you can do to the child that can hurt that child, it is not discipline. It becomes then abuse. Let us think before we act. We need to understand that if we can cause a child so much pain to do damage to their skin, that cannot be discipline. That has to be abuse. And I recall on a program I was talking, and a parent called me and said, listen, I send my child to school and I'm disciplining my child because I am the parent of the child, but the teacher sent the child to the police and said I was abusing my child. And I'm saying to the parent, there must be some physical sign of violence for that teacher to go to the police. And she's saying, no, I did not, I was just disciplining my child. So the fact is, some of us don't understand the difference between abuse and discipline. We need to understand that if we can do anything to that child that could cause physical damage, cuts on their hands, bruises and swelling and so, that is way past discipline, that is abuse. So we need to check ourselves, take time off, think about the best way to do it, and then administer the discipline.
So then if I may ask, what therefore is the difference between discipline and punishment? Because my husband, in his book, Restoring Families, he wrote an entire chapter on discipline versus punishment. And so I think it's important for viewers to know, as you told them about the punishment, the abuse, once you see marks, you know you've gone over the boundary. But discipline, true discipline, what should be their attitude in helping the child?
Okay. That's a very good question, because when you look at discipline, you're talking about a child did something wrong, and what you want to do is correct. And we do it even within the system of the prison system and so, because we're talking about we're trying to correct that wrong. So we need to use a more restorative approach when we're talking about discipline. So the child must understand that I love you, Yes, and that is important to show that I love you. I don't like what you did.
That's
So that we need to work on that. We need to, okay,
Yeah.
how should I punish you? And maybe you can sit and talk about it. And should I deprive you of so and so because you did something that was not right? And yes, mommy love you. Yes, daddy love you. But we need to address this because you did something wrong. So what do? You find some way, maybe. And we feel that discipline and punishment, and so we always think of it as beating and so on. But there are many ways in terms of discipline a child. When you think about punishment, you would think of hitting and so on. But when you think about discipline, you're talking about a restorative approach.